cloud. Because everyone sort of only gets about 3 to 5 minutes to talk here, so I don't want to cut into people's time. All right, so we'll start with the first person. It's Alex Bortell. Alex Bortell is a Chicago-based poet. He is a Best of the Net and Pushcart Prize nominee. His work appears or is forthcoming in Antiphony, Foglifter, Rhino, Split Lip Magazine, and elsewhere.
Thank you. I'll be reading 3 poems. Pre-op. At 6, Virginia is molested in front of a mirror. I hold my boyfriend's chin and command them to watch as they come a column. The ornithology lab is home to yellow-necked needles. Here, dermestid beetles feed on dead protein. When the meat dries out, the specimen must re-soak. At my first appointment, the gynecologist draws a uterus on a lavender bib. Here we sever and stitch. I page through Birds of America. In the hall hangs little egret's corpse, folded in cloth. My face a steel tray when the colony hatches. The latest acquisition, tagged and stuffed, crooked wing bent back into form. I tire of invention. Debates on Orlando. Is he a man after? A wire cabinet heavy with mounts. During the hysterectomy, 3 incisions. The taxidermist in blue nitrile, stripping a bone. Excision. Saint Agatha fissures, swayed and out crawls ox, slack with smog. Agatha and I, pumice and obsidian, smear our crowns with Mount Etna. I flail, tongue soft. How to measure Agatha and ox she fetters, red curtain, ankle length, imagine me, pearled. Ox sniffs and licks. Ox beats the fly with tail, and Agatha speaks now. You are of consequence. The ox is of ox. Lava slinks toward Catania. Oxtail swats, dreams I'm a plow. I gouge myself a city. Agatha wets and threads me. Cruising in the Motor City. Last night I spoke to James Baldwin. We were sitting in a confession booth that was also a glory hole. I asked him if we keep finding each other here because God only likes to be looked at through a gap in the wall. A voyeur of little things, pimples on asses. Is he too big to get small with me? Standing alone in a Ford factory, I followed the assembly line into the river, emerged on Woodward Avenue. When I couldn't find where I parked the Torino, I prayed to the DTE Energy Angel. Detroit rang so loud, pipes burst up and down the street, and I passed out. My lead rain, heaven-sent city came on to me while I slept. I awoke with it smeared across my cheek, smelling like peroxide water pumps, stared at myself in the gravel of a pothole, Narcissus without socks, missing shirt buttons. From my pant leg, I picked off burrs that were not forged in the dirt, not grown, but beaten into something worth singing about. I sang. I stood and kissed the payphone. I wanted those metal shins in my gut, plutonium church pews spread out, corroded battery wires in my mouth. Plugged. Now what? I listened to cylinders humming a promise to finish me. There's something new over there, they preach, beyond the chain link. An atom bomb the size of Jesus' love. You just gotta survive long enough. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Battery in my mouth. Wow. Okay, I'm still not that line. Okay. Next person, Casper Falls. Casper E. Falls, he Fay, is a transmac story ghost with mostly good intentions. His work spans poetry, short fiction, nonfiction, and novels, and reflect a passion for queer, intersectional disability justice. It has appeared in Artifice and Axis, Reverent, You're Never Too Much, and other publications.
Thank you. I also just want to say that was beautiful poetry. I'll be reading the opening of a new story I'm working on. Quick trigger warnings, suicidality, capitalist dystopia, and mentions of alcoholism. Out of stock. When the whole damn system wants you dead, it shouldn't be this hard to kill yourself. Yet here we are, in the dingiest Walgreens known to mankind, stuck in the Mariah Carey loop, and the whole shelf of off yourself pills is sold out. Merry fucking Christmas. I should have stayed home, but then I would have chewed my rent alarm off the wall. Those used to be for fires before priorities shifted. Now every hour the damn wall pimple springs to life in the robotic sing song. You are now 18 days and 14 hours behind on rent. Hello, Walgreens bot. I call into the store that looks like a morgue and the trucker stop had an unwanted baby. Stocking issue in aisle 3? I've gnawed off two of my fingernails by the time that thing approaches, and it has company. A raccoon of a man shuffles after him. Sunken eyes, looks like he'd rather live in your kitchen than the trash can, but he'll make do. He's a bit mangy, but in a cute way. His eyes widen when he sees me. Human interaction, how terrifying. But if I'm lucky, this is the last person on Earth I'll see, so I might as well not be a dick to him. I give him a non-threatening wave. Yo! He blinks at me, then looks at his phone, then back up at me. Before anything comes out of Mr. Rodent. Wait, no, raccoons are bears, aren't they? The bot speaks. Ho, ho, ho! What may I assist you with today? Wow, I feel more cheerful already. Right. Hi, Santa. You're out of dropouts. Do you have some in the back? Due to the holidays, we had a higher demand than expected this year. Please return in 14 days when our next shipment arrives. You're fucking kidding me. I should introduce this bot to my wall pimple. They'd make such a cute family of glitchy overlords. I bet they'd communicate entirely in nail-on-sharkboat noises. I am sorry, sir. A robotic voice from Raccoon Man's phone interrupts. Ma'am, not sir. The Walgreens bot corrects itself without a pause, but I'm busy staring at Mangy Bear. He points at the she-her pronoun pin on my satchel back and shrugs with a shy smile. Huh, clever boy. Jack Daniels. My attention snaps back to the bot. Sorry, Santa, what was that? I'm sorry, ma'am. As I've already explained to our other customer, we are regrettably unable to meet your needs today. We do, however, have a holiday sale on Jack Daniels. So you're looking to off yourself too then? Raccoon Man raises a finger and types into his text-to-speech app. After a moment, no, I hope to donate them to the orphanage. Dude, he cringes and types faster. Too dark? Nah, it's... Santa interrupts us. Dropouts, like other life-terminating medication, are not eligible for donations and must be consumed by the person who purchased them. Walgreens Adidas Associates do not condone homicide. Right. The nearest store with dropouts in stock is 452 Mulberry Drive in the Hills. Would you like directions, ma'am? The fucking hills? Of course, the ritziest neighborhood would have some left over. Not because the wealthy are happy, mind you, but they can probably afford better. Half of those apartments are empty anyway. Offshore investments. Fuck, and there's really nothing closer? The longer this takes, the more my resolve wavers. But I can't do it again. I can't return to work on the 26th and make it through another shift. I'd rather try my luck with the roof guards for a good jump than seeing that loading screen again. Then, no, ma'am, but may I redirect your attention to our Jack Daniels sale? Your personal history suggests you'd be interested in it. I freeze. It couldn't know, could it? Then again, everything watches. The fluorescent lights, the pitying managers, the security cams. They all saw me tumble. They all watched me search for a way to keep going, to keep pressing that faded keyboard. All of the letters have worn off, gone, like the years of my life. What was that? It merrily continues. Your history of alcoholism and 3 unfinished rehab programs suggests that my body moves before my mind catches up. I grab the next best heavy thing I find. Thank God it's not a raccoon man. It's a housewife's delight air fryer, waiting for a desperate last-minute shopper to snatch it up. Sorry, Frybot, none of us get what we want. With a glorious crash, I smash it into the Walgreens spot. Sparks fly. Both machines meet their nirvana. I gawk at the wreckage, and something churns in my chest that I haven't felt in ages. Is that joy? An alarm goes off.
Wow. It feels dystopian, but also like it's now. That's feels current. Thank you so much, Casper. Next we have E.A. Noble. E.A. Noble is a dirty South loudmouth, a queer Mongolia flower grown from the potholes of the Mississippi. Noble serves as a chair for WisCon, a feminist science fiction and fantasy convention. Their work centers womanhood, power, resistance, reclamation of queer bodies within speculative fiction.
Hello, everyone. Tonight, I am reading a short story called A Child Left Behind in the Dannie. I smell the rain coming past rolling hills, over yonder, across rolling wheat fields. Sky ain't dark yet, clouds nowhere in sight, but I know thunder gon' clap right over the red bricks farmhouse. The white fence porch, painted last July, has a pitcher of freshly squeezed lemonade knocked over. When I left, ants had formed a line to the overturned Sakatumi cake, melting in between the cracks. I bury toes in soil, allowing the worms to wiggle against bare feet. I smell it now, the rain. It smells like daddy's leather belt and beer on his breath. Mama says, when it rains, God is beating his wife. That's why the eye of the sun bruises against blue-gray skies. I crouch in the high grass, counting polka-dotted dandelions. Thunder rumbles in Daddy's voice in the distance. You ain't taking my daughter nowhere. Lightning strikes, shattered glass. She coming with me, whether you like it or not. Little John, my oldest sissy's boyfriend, yells back. Nobody has ever yelled at Daddy like that. You think you a better son? You think you a better man, son? You think you know what it takes? I'll be a better father than you'll ever be. A low rumble, muffled shouts. A half-blown dandelion dances in a plume of low bushes. I pluck it, hold it to my nose, close my eyes up tight until a burst of light explodes behind my lids. I wish for a world that never rains, a world of sunshine and talking birds, caterpillars, caterpillars grow as big as dogs, and butterflies strong enough for little girls to ride on. Lightning snaps, the screen door cracks. Sissy's round belly wobbles behind her boyfriend as he wiped red Kool-Aid from his nose. You leave, don't you ever come back, Daddy shouts. Mama sobs. You can't do. Thunder slaps Mama silent. Stratus clouds. Mama taught me that word. Daddy's fists are stratus clouds, his eyebrows overcast. Little John lifts Big Sissy in the Chevy. Thunder rumbles underneath the hood. Lightning shoots out of the tailpipe. I have to take cover soon, real soon. I run through the high grass toward the road. I pass the wheat field and turn at the ditch across the dusty driveway the Chevy is speeding down. The truck misses me by an inch as high wind picks up. My sissy flips around in the passenger seat. She sticks her head out of the rectangular window. Black curls blow across a freckled nose. I am out in the open, eternally displaced. Sun-drenched doubts drove over a bedrock of gravel. disappearing in a dust tornado. And there it is, as birds take flight, the first few drops plopping on my puffy cheeks, the rain.
Wow. Thank you so much. Loved all the weather and thunder and hailpipe is kind of there's something going on there too. It's so vivid. All right. Now we have Lucy Strong. Lucy Strong is a Black Southern woman whose Mississippi upbringing shapes her stories. Her characters are flawed and emotionally played upon to create a more relatable experience. Her works are featured on the online blog Hey Young Writer and the podcast Her Own Words.
Hi, everyone. Excellent readings before me. All praise tonight. And then for everyone going after me, I'm sure it's going to be just as fun. So this is a story. It's a fantasy story, and I'm just reading an excerpt from it. It is longer. So yeah, I'm just going to start. This was my favorite place in the cozy cottage. The back wall was painted in ocean blue, accentuating the roiling waves against the shore. The briny scent comfortingly assaulted my nose. I knew that smell all my life. It was an indicator that I was home whenever I went out. A lime green love seat sat on the back wall, facing the screen and the beach beyond. I sat and crossed my legs underneath me. Naima was right. I wasn't feeling like myself and hadn't been for an entire lunar cycle now. I could feel something new inside me. I felt all my usual pockets and strings of magic, the juniper green glow warming me, but this new thread was sharp and a slate gray, dimming the surrounding glow. It brought on a feeling of riding waves in a ship. I couldn't describe it to Naima, lest she try to make me go talk to the healer again. When all this first started, I went to a healer who told me it was just stress. Stress my ass, I thought. I hadn't shaken the ill feeling since. I gazed out upon the beach, listening to the call of the sea. Breath in, out. Shedding the layers of the day, my shoulders lowered and my eyes fluttered closed. I continued to slow my breathing and took in the nighttime sea sounds. A stinging insect buzzed past my right ear. The quarter moon offered a sliver of pale light over the left side of my face. Each facial muscle unclenched, sinking me further into relaxation. Thrum! It was that dark thread again. My eyes snapped open. Something felt peculiar. The air turned so cold around me that I could see my breath. It was nowhere near winter. What is happening to me? I breathed in once more because the thread vibrated louder now. This felt different. Upon the exhale, I was thrusted into someone else's eyes. I saw a chaotic scene. A table was flung across the room where it disturbed the vanity, shattering the mirror. Small vials, hair accessories, and hair oil lay strewn around the floor. The new body heard screaming outside the closed door across the room. The new body was sobbing. The yelling increased outside the door when hissing began. Startled, I wanted to look for the source of the loud hissing in my ears, but the new body only continued to hold its head in its hand and sob. When the new body's head leaned forward, I saw the source. Serpents hovered around me. I screamed and my breathing increased. No meditation could help me escape this. I did my best to wiggle free, but the screams grew louder and louder until I blinked rapidly, tears now streaming down my cheeks. I heard screams then, back in my own body, and leaped from the left seat. I crashed through the bathroom door. Naima was contorting on the floor, gripping the lip of the clawfoot tub like a grasp on reality. Our lotions and potions were strewn about the room. Shower head still pelting the stone floor with water. Water tumbled onto the bathroom floor. I rushed to her. Nye, what hurts? I asked, clumsily moving Naima's hair and shifting the towel wrapped under her arms, looking for a wound. I saw none. Naima's screams pierced the small space. It rivaled a banshee's yell. I held her face between my palms. Nah, you have to talk to me. Tell me what's going on. Tell me how to help. I yelled over the agonizing screams. Naima's free hand clasped onto my left wrist as her screams began to quell. Her eyelids fluttered and her eyes glowed juniper green. I tilted her head, her breathing quickening at the my breath quickening at the sight. Sorry. Naima's howls lessened and then ceased. Just before she lost consciousness, her voice became another's. This voice sounded far away and time worn. She only spoke one word, Aleyu. That's it.
Wow. I think breathing should be a word. I feel like it makes sense. But that was so good. Thank you. Uh, all right. The next one for today is Dannie Ruth. Dannie Ruth was a poet and freelancer from Washington, D.C. Ruth's poems appear in Toho Journal, The Inquisitive Eater, and the Solstice Literary Mag. Her chapbook, Inside the Orb of an Oracle, is a Summer Chapbook Prize selection, CNR Press 2019. Ruth earned an MFA in poetry from the New School, has received support from Catapult, Cave Canon, Torch Literary Arts, Aspen Words, and is an inaugural cohort member of Sea Salted Honey's writing residence in Senegal, West Africa. She owns a stationery company selling affirmative greeting cards called Penultimate Moments.
Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm going to read 3 poems today. And this is the first one. It's called And So It Is. This is a short crown of haikus, by the way. I have decided there is no earthly reason to limit myself. I intend to steep in gratitude every day till joy swallows me. Even the soil surrenders to the seed. Sprout, let love nourish me. Praise this enchanted breath, carrying me and you, what fruit we all bear. Thoughts are the force that govern a life. You can be your own healing balm. Words are spells, I know. All I say happens. Love, peace, grace, humanity. You here, take it all. In breath, each word permeate deep as an exhale. The second poem is a golden shovel for my mom. I get the feeling you liked telling me no, telling me all. I cannot have egregious hoop earrings or this or that. But on the drive home, if there's fast food, I'd convince you to find your own special ways to express your love. Maybe being a mother is an embodiment I can will. You'll return to the planet in your grandchild, and I'll turn my palms to the stars and say thank you to the no's that have turned to dust. And the last poem is A Crown of Pearls. I don't know if it has a title, but the first and third poems are kind of reflective of the greeting cards that I create and, put those affirmative messages in there. So this is definitely reflective of that. And this is The Crown of Pearls. And the pearl is a poetic form I suggest everyone trying. Super cool, super simple. Okay. Do you know? Okay, A Crown of Pearls. Do you know what we are? Embodiments of bliss, relentlessly nurturing this here planet, planted now with this deep love inhale. We are enchanted breath, without any limits, anchor love in word, thought, and deed. Here you are, planted now, deep inhale love, exhale. From your center, freedom unfolds today. Feel this. Release the resistance, process patience and plenitude as cells reclaim your whole. Embrace supreme being, peace sustainer, sublime harmonizing with nature. I proclaim peace expanding, greatest good for us all. Nourished feels like sun glow. True you waves flow and ebb, surrender and sacrifice, sink. You rise, sing, cry out, thank past and present blessings. always, everywhere, undisturbed expressions. Love is light, declaring I am all there is at the root, every one of us. I am what you are. You art what I am. A seed expanding, truly rooted love, brushstrokes from the Most High. We are one with the one.
So affirming. Thank you so much. I also don't know about the plural form, so I'll have to look that up after this. All right. So the next person we have is Kevin Carson. Kevin Carson is
Okay, thanks.
um, Kevin Carson is a poet, educator, and immigrant rights activist based in Brooklyn, New York.
Oh,
A Caribbean writer of Native heritage.
he's on the phone?
His work explores. Sorry, I'm gonna have to mute this person.
Why?
Okay. Sorry, let's start again. Kevin Carson is a poet, educator, and immigrant rights activist based in Brooklyn, New York, a Caribbean writer of Native heritage. His work explores identity, history, and the undocumented experience. He has received fellowships from Brooklyn Poets, The Watering Hole, The Seventh Wave, Abode Press, and elsewhere. His poetry is featured or is forthcoming in Ave Astra, Bloodlust Magazine, Ionia Review, Lumine Lit Review, and elsewhere. Take it away.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Oh my God. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. Thanks for having me. I have three poems. I'll start with the first one. The Making of a Ghost for Alex. In a room where silence becomes stifling, you'll hear your name in their voice and wonder where it came from, snapping your neck around, only to decide it was in your head. You'll find a few strands of their hair on pillowcases and on floors where they walk like breadcrumbs that lead nowhere. You'll open their messages and realize that the last time they said, I love you, was a binary code sent from a lifetime ago. You'll find the shirt you wore the last time they hugged you and wonder if washing it would replace their presence. But you'll tuck it away in a drawer, unwashed, preserved. You see, grief doesn't come when you start missing them. It comes when your memories begin creating a ghost that haunts you, that brushes your shoulder every now and again, drops the random things in your room when you're not looking, that knocks on the wall once, then twice, but not a third time, just so you can keep guessing. That haunts you into remembering. The last death they'll have is if you somehow forget them. And excuse me. The other two are from an amazing poet called Tariq Thompson. He writes these really beautiful birthday sonnets with really famous folks that he's shared a birthday with. Fun fact, I'm May 20th, he's May 19th. And these two poems that I'll read, the first one is with Toussaint Louverture, who is the leader of the uprising in Haiti, and Omar Apollo. This is on our birthday. Oh, there's a quote, sorry, I'll share real quick, that Toussaint shared while he was being dragged away by police. He said that you can cut the trunk off the tree of liberty, but the roots run deep. And that's what this poem is thinking about. On our birthday, Toussaint Louverture and I discussed the tree of liberty after Tariq Thompson. What woke in your spirit to revolt, to breathe in the face of evil and live? I've seen the nature of us, all of us, born soul free by nature, body shackled by existence, mind seized later. The challenge is to kill the snake that slithers long after its head has rotted. Even in dark rooms, mirrors reflect something. Darkness lives within and on my skin. I was born a necessity of nature, damned upon arrival, chained, owned. They sewed twisted tales with centuries of my blood on their lips long before my birth. Yet they are people, and I, something, a natural. Leaves gone, branches gone, trunk gone, sun blocked out, soil dried up. I feel the tree of liberty has lost too much to go on. But here we are, hoping still for a green thumb. And the other one is with Omar Apollo. Love that man, and I'm happy that we share a birthday together. On our birthday, Omar Apollo and I discussed the shape of emptiness after Tariq Thompson. When love evergreened itself to winter, winter sprung to stillness, and stillness delved deep. The shape of any burrow fits the body of its animal, sheltered in the solitude of the other's existence. That night we danced ourselves half dead, panting prey-like, aching out of loneliness. The ground still caught us in the sides of our boots. Our sorrows dusted softly in the wind. I heard trumpets in the brass of your laughter, daylight behind your eyes, kisses tossed into its dawning. Clouds violet their way off of sunset, and something inside me followed them. I know the shape of forever is you leaving, and the shape of emptiness in my own body. Thank you.
Thank you. I still couldn't get over the grief poem. That was so poignant. Okay. Next we have Nicole J. Evans. Nicole J. Evans, she, her, is a Black woman from Los Angeles, California. Writes poetry, fiction, and creative nonfiction as an act of ancestral veneration and purpose. A 2024 James Kirkwood Prize nominee, with poets being published in upcoming Flower Song Press and Black Landia in Landia books anthologies. This is one word. So a mother, auntie, sister, daughter, wife, cousin, friend, and aspiring griot. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm so honored to be a part of this group and listen to all of your beautiful work. Very inspiring. I'm going to be reading an excerpt from the chapter entitled Trauma Torrents from my creative nonfiction project, Grief, a Love Story. My father's return happened near the end of summer 1989, late August. I remember the day because we were getting ready to go camping in Yucaipa, an end of summer trip my mother looked forward to taking her girls on. She was focused on packing and making sure we had everything we needed. We were focused on the VHS recording of The Incredible Shrinking Woman with Lily Tomlin. None of us was watching the news. My mom had us go out to the car and take our seats as she packed our bags in the car. We sat and watched as she made a couple of trips back to the apartment we lived on a Sierra Bonita Avenue, not many miles from her parents' home on Saturn. At one point, sitting in the hot, stuffy car, we noticed Mommy hadn't come right back. She'd been gone long enough for us to grow concerned. She returned and motioned for us to follow her back into the apartment. We complied in our frustration with worn patience from being ready to go and begrudgingly followed her back into the apartment, where she broke the news to us. It hadn't been so long since we visited Grandmama and them being the multitude of family that would usually be over at their home. They rented a house with just enough bedrooms to hold a steady flow of family that came in and out of those doors. Cousins that she raised who were growing up and seeing them much more frequently than Davies, my dad's girls. The memory of visiting Grandmama's house makes clear the similarities and parallels between both family homes. The great difference being that even with my grandfather present, Grandmama's loving faith and commitment were what held that side of my family together. Whereas on my mother's side, part of their foundation was the presence and consistent involvement of both Nana and Grandpa. What Mommy revealed to us, matter-of-factly in the only way you could deliver devastating news to kids aged 11, 9, and 6 years old, was that their grandparents and two of their close-in-age cousins had died in a fire at their house while one of other cousin was in an induced coma fighting for her life after suffering from smoke inhalation. Our first and maybe only question due to shock was, which cousins? Much family stayed there under grandmama's care, including two distant cousins she was fostering. We learned that baby Everett, my Uncle Everett's only child, whom he had just gotten custody of and who had wanted to spend the night and play video games with our cousin Mikey, in between moving from his mother's to his father's house, had passed along with Mikey, ages 12 and 10. The headlines of the articles covering their deaths gave information that I'm only just grappling with. They read, elderly pair, two foster sons die in blaze, cigarette blamed for home fire. Third child in critical condition. And there were numerous inconsistencies, so even with a headline so clear, I've always been in a fog about what to believe. To my knowledge, grandmama didn't allow people to smoke in their house. Then I learned that my grandfather did, but only in their bedroom. The cigarette that ignited the fire was in the den. Then I heard whispers of a horrifying truth only recently verified. My father had been over that night. He was drunk, and he was smoking in the den, and left the smoldering cigarette in the cushions of the couch. The rented home had no working smoke detectors. Additionally, the response to the blaze was blamed for taking longer than it should have. In any case, to my small, traumatized 11-year-old mind, there was an awareness born that we would be at this funeral, this big, terrible, scary funeral for people I knew and loved, my cousins that we had played with and laughed with, my grandmama who nurtured us, and my grandfather. I learned that my father was in our vicinity, but that he hadn't come to see us, that he would, in all likelihood, be at the funeral, and that we would see him. The time came. We dressed up, hair done, shiny face, and pretty dark little girl dresses appropriate for a funeral, and to possibly see the parent who had abandoned us. And even though no one said it, you aren't quite sure that it isn't your fault he left. And when the time came to stand up and walk the processional past the caskets of these 4 loved ones, you tried to hide your excitement to see your father and the shame you also felt in this moment, when you should only feel sad because it is the saddest moment anyone could ever experience. You also felt elated that you'll be able to show your baby sister, who had been too young to remember him when he left, that here he was, your father, see? I took Messie's hand as I led her past the collection of caskets, and the shock I felt seeing my cousins still and seemingly sleeping in these caskets with cascades of blue carnations that matched the flowers that spilled over my grandfather's casket and my grandmama's casket that was covered in pink flowers of the same varietal, which my mother assured me was her favorite flower. My heart beat quickly in equal strides of this shock and this excitement as I witnessed this moment, but also quietly pointed my little finger towards the slight of a man that I recognized and whispered, Messie, look, there he is. Thank you.
Thank you. That was devastating. Thank you for sharing with us. There's such it's so present, and then there's the childhood, and then there's revisions to the memory. Just great job keeping the movement going. Thank you again. Amiel won't be joining us today, so our next one is Jane Shi. Jane Shi is a poet, writer, and organizer living on the occupied, stolen, and unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsio Watuto people. She's the author of the chapbook Leaving Changs Unread, Ralia's Ghost Press 2022, and the winner of the Capilano Review 2022 Interventions in the Archive contest. Her writings can also be found in Read This When Things Fall Apart, AK Press 2025, We Are Each Other's Liberation, Black and Asian Feminist Solidarities, Haymarket Books 2025, Queer Little Nightmares, an anthology of monstrous fiction and poetry, Arsenal Pulp Press, and the Disability Visibility Project blog, The Offing, and Seventh Wave Mag, among others. Her debut poetry collection, Ecolia, by Brick Books 2024, was shortlisted for the Raymond Souster Award. She wants to live in a world where love is not a limited resource, land is not mined, hearts are not filched, and bodies are not violated.
Thanks so much for having me. That was a beautiful story to follow. Yeah, I just wanted to sit in the power of the young girl's voice for a while before jumping in, but thank you for having me. This first poem is called Climbing Sleeping Buffalo on Eid Norwuz Spring Equinox. The trunks are narrow here than on the island where the elder tree declares itself ice-aged, and my friend's relative with incredible hair. The dry wind rings in fire, thunder, and I can smell the singe in the air as though a tender kiss pressed to the throat. I have always been afraid of heights. The knees, the great betrayer of the rest of the body. The hardest part of climbing a mountain and being alive is learning to trust your footing. The crampons grip onto ice, which will one day melt like teardrops, or amoeba leaving home for the first time, a helmet from an icier planet. M holds my hand even though neither of us think it will make a difference, except in my mind where a father is always yelling. My other friend's family in Lebanon are stranded near the airport. There is already so much cancer in her family. The whole world is a fallen tree, burnt crisp like elk meat, forest cake, fresh coffee if the howitzer were aimed at the highways, at us too. Avalanche engine turned missiles. Somebody paid for the table across from us at the buffet full of Francophone armed forces, and I joke about pushing King George and Queen Elizabeth II from the top of the mountain. If there was a time machine, I could do a lot in 1939. Just wait right here. The mountains are young and alive, and I want to be sure of love's building like snow. I hope I am not in a situationship with the ground. I hope to be steadier tomorrow. I will not be surprised when people are kind. One day, all this will be returned. The second poem I'm reading is called We All Fall Down. A nursery rhyme gestures to itself. Inside the pocket of rhyme, a child punished for being slowest. Library of Congress. No substantial historical evidence linking Ring Around, a children's play song, to the bubonic plague. And who can blame us? Plagues are all we know. The TB sanatoriums, the anthrax still buried in the ground, the metal speculum, the ashes of conveniently destroyed records, the rash of syphilis and pipelines and smallpox, the lowering children of 13 babies below 6 months below into the reluctant, exhausted earth, who wants only the ancient and equally tired earth, who prefers to keep its secrets, earth, who says no, we spit them out, these new breaths, who belong to the wind who cackles. Haven't you heard the news? The children are playing in the clouds, are making new rhymes, are undoing libraries and research facilities, are cutting worms at the rind, are not selling any real estate. A ring is just a ring. A rose, just a rose, sitting still in a pocket, dizzy during Dapka, hand in victory hand. Asada writes, love is an acid that eats away bars. But what will we know about that? Thank you.
Thank you. felt like each sentence was an image and I was just catching on to it. Just kept reading. All right, our second to last person, Stephen Energia Gifford-Bell. Stephen Energia Gifford-Bell, he, him, is a white Ecuadorian nerd raised in Florida and residing in Patagonia. He was a Dream Yard Project Radical Poetry Consortium Fellow and is a finalist for the Porterhouse Review 2025-2026 Editor's Prize. His poems have appeared in Asterales, the Savannah Review, HAD, and elsewhere. He's trying to invite his ghosts to play.
Thank you so much. And can everyone hear me all right? Awesome. I also have three poems. It's a three-poem kind of night. And so this first poem, where's my window? There we go. So this first poem, first I just want to say that this first poem was written during co-writing sessions hosted by another fellow who read here tonight, Casper Falls. So I just want to shout out Casper and say thank you for that extra space. And context, it's part of a new series I'm writing based off of scans of photos my partner and I found in my mom's closet. Photoscan 2000 Sleeve E, learning erosion at Lido Beach. Left leg folded in, my mom sits seaside, watches me grab the same sand caking her heel, gather with small fingers out of the camera's view. On the sheer bank behind us, exposed roots reach toward us like neurons, the rugged tethers of memory. My mom's lips purse gently as if caught between words. Sheets of steel blue water rearranged shoreline. My mom is sitting in the sand, right hand resting on her thigh, left hand pulling her ankle in. She is watching me. She is telling me something. I know it as I make the marks of little fingers in the strip of land revised each tide. Behind us, the fibrous tethers reach. Ahead, the waters remove and return. All right, the second poem is a long one. On weekends, loitering outside the local movies with my crew or standing lookout as one of them leaned waist deep into the return bin, fishing for Realty 3D glasses. Before I knew it, everything coming soon had already left theaters. Thanks for bearing with the longer poem. This last poem is from another series of poems called Autoarchaeological Ghost Stories. And I also just wanted to do another shout out of this poem this particular poem in the series I wrote during a workshop with Diesel Carson, who's in the audience here. And I just wanted to say this shout out and thanks for that workshop. Autoarchaeological Ghost Story, sometime after 2012, 2018, 2024, after Arthur said. Can you hear them? The woman made of smoke and synonyms flickers outside the cabin. A man seizes, calls, nurse, nurse, then watches himself leaving. He is a camera flash. He is a lens. Some parts of me appear only under his aperture. The smoke woman turns toward the pinprick sky, disperses. In just 12 piano strokes, an older woman. She leaks out the notes like blood. Bored, sometimes, of her music, she hisses at Katz, turns to watch birds. The smoke gathers by her to burn watch. The background noise, news with no words. The aperture flashes. The notes refuse to appear. Lightning over the bay. green flash of a heart rate monitor. Can you hear it? The smoke tangles with the blood of song. The camera sees smoke, no song. In the middle distance, an owl, a warbler, a sandhill crane, all cry, fly from my yard. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. I loved your small, short, baby poems. It was super long too. Uh, all right, on to our last fellow of the day. It's Christina Lee. Christina Lee Shide is a disabled Korean writer, wrester, fiber arts hobbyist, researcher, nervous system, tangerine eating machine. She has been awarded a disability visibility fellowship by the Unexpected Shape Writing Academy and is a McCormack Writing Center alum. Find her words with Turning Leaf Journal, Read the Soil, and more. Take it away.
Thank you. Everyone's words have been so wonderful tonight, and thank you so much for sharing and holding your attention for me too. I'm reading a piece called I Place 9 Offerings at the Altar of My Harmony. I'm reading an excerpt from it, so only one altar, and it's an essay. I watch as I grow the semblance of fine-lined webbing across the back of my hands, particularly visible when it is especially cutting and dry in the winter, skin tight around my knuckles, little rips on my cuticles. It reminds me that I'm aging, as is everyone around me, that we are all on this earth for a limited amount of time. It is as if these hands are growing into a resemblance of those of my harmonies, my grandmother. A ghost of her lives where my skin is now. What I remember of her prominently now are the freckles, stepping stones across the crest of the back of her hand, her webbing a microscopic spread of valleys, skin scrunched around the bone. She reaches for them often, my hands, taking them in between hers as if to warm them, but she runs cold as the neuropathy deadens hers, rendering them as stiff and cool. As numbed as she may have felt in her fingers, she teaches me how to knit when I am in the 3rd grade. Learning by demonstration is easiest for me, I find, after making a confused mess of yarn in my first attempt via the Klutz Children's Instructional Knitting Book, whose words are paired with diagrams that feel foreign to me. She demonstrates for me, teaches me, and after she leaves to go back home to Korea, I sit myself on a cushion on the floor, fiddle with my needles, and thread them through the yarn. I recall her hands as a specter of my own, demonstrating poking the head of the needle behind the other, grasping soft acrylic thread and throwing it around the pointed end. She doesn't visit often after this, having been diagnosed with Alzheimer's soon after, and having lost functionality with her new disability. But I feel her absence, and she is one of the first of my grandparents to have died. I knit often now, having relearned after decades of disuse, abandoned in place of other things like school and work. I only find it again when I too become disabled, and my hands also weaker than they were a few years before. When I pick it up again, I'm reminded of how the yarn from the knitting kit seemed to have spun, fully formed as a scarf mottled blue, out of her fingertips, her veins translucent under the skin, matching mine. I'm too young to have truly known her, but we meet on occasion when she visits, no more than once a year from Korea. I sit by her side most often, join her on her walks through the trails near my home. I feel the most kinship with her of my extended family. I know she has diabetes, although I don't know what that means yet, but I watch she injects insulin multiple times a day. I sit with her as she cleans her supplies and her skin with alcohol that stings my nose as it rises in evaporation, as she pulls up the end of her shirt, squeezes and inserts the needle proximal to her belly button, plunging down on the syringe. And it occurs to me today as I watch a video on how to administer an injectable medication for the first time that she could have shown me how to do it. Insert a needle where and how under my skin. For the first time since she has died, I wish she was here. I've missed her, but in the acceptance of her death, her absence, I do not wish her back into a world that was unkind to her. I wish her rest and ease beyond this life. Nobody else in my family could show me how to do this, though I realize sitting here alone on my couch. Eternally an eldest daughter, I have to be the first in a sense again, and she was the first too. Thank you.
Thank you. My grandmother also had diabetes and also passed away. So yeah. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you all for being here. This would be the end of the open mic. Thank you for your attention, your words. Such great voices. And this, I think it was a great success. So hopefully we'll all see each other again for the other two. All right. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, everyone. Right.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.